and stared past me into the woods beyond the backyard. There was a man standing on our side of the fence, barely visible in the darkness. Jeff looked at me concerned and then back at the woods. The man proceeded in a slow gait to come our way. Jeff shouted, "Hey!" and then he leapt off the porch and ran towards the fence. "I told you to get a hell off my property!" I stuffed the money into my pocket and stood there watching him. He was walking fast, intent on getting to the man, judging by his pace. He was halfway across the yard when a gunshot rang out. He stopped in his tracks and did a 180, sprinting back towards the house with his hands over his head. "Get inside! Get inside!" he shouted, waving wildly at me. Everything happened so fast. Jeff grabbed me as he ran up the stairs, dragging me into the house with him. He slammed the door fiercely and whispered, "Get down!" and then he locked the door. He forced me into a squatting position, and we crab-crawled our way across the dark kitchen. He led me to a door and opened it. It was a black rectangle, absolutely dark. I was thinking that it led to the basement or something when Jeffrey ushered me over the threshold and onto the top step. I stumbled over my own feet and nearly lost my balance. I seized a hold of the banister and kept myself from falling down the stairs. I looked back and saw that Jeff was now standing up straight. We locked eyes for a brief moment. His face was expressionless. He brought his leg back and kicked me hard enough to send me flying backwards into the darkness. I didn't even have time to react, let alone scream. There was a moment when I sailed weightless in the midair before I crashed into the angles of the wooden steps. I landed on my back and I heard the wood splinter, and then I felt an awful flare-up of pain. I felt something in my upper back crunch wetly. I bumped down the last 8 or 9 steps in a violent series of somersaults, coming to an abrupt halt as I crashed shoulder first against the stone wall at the bottom of the stairs. I opened my eyes and took in a shuddering breath. I had landed on a dirt floor. I cautiously wiggled my toes to make sure I wasn't paralyzed. The first thing I saw was a stone-carved table that could have only been an altar. There were dozens of unlit candles on it and around it. The table was spotted with blood. I was still trying to process everything that had just happened to me. I understood I'd been tricked and ambushed.